Okay, so here we are looking at multiplying some terms that have imaginary components in them. Now, um, this part right here, you are going to end up with some terms that have I squared in them. Now remember, I is just equal to the square root of -1. That's our definition of I. When we square I, we are squaring the square root of -1. Now remember, what happens when you square a term that has a square root in it, the radical and the exponent just cancel out, and we are left with I squared equals -1. So this is going to be important to remember. Once you multiply these out and distribute, you're going to end up with some terms that have I squared, and you do not want to leave your final answer with I squared. We know we can simplify this and replace I squared with -1. So let's look at this first example. We are taking 4i and we need to distribute that to each of our terms in here. So in this first one, we get 4i times -6, which gives us -24i. And in our second term, we are taking 4i and multiplying it by I. So 4i times I gives us 4i squared. Remember, I times I is I squared. So we end up with -24i plus 4i squared. But we know if we go ahead and replace I squared with -1, which we know by definition I squared is equal to -1, we end up with plus 4 times -1. I squared is just -1. So here, when we replace this, we get -24i minus 4, because we get 4 times -1 is just -4. Now, when we rewrite this, we always write our real part first. So we're going to get -4 plus, or I'm sorry, minus, I take that back, -4 minus 24i. Okay, now if we go ahead and check our work here with the answers, we're going to get -24i plus 4i squared. We go through, and we're going to end up with -4 minus 24i. Okay, now for the second option here, we need to go ahead and FOIL. We've got two binomials that are multiplied by each other. So you need to remember how we FOIL our work. So the first thing we do is we multiply our first two terms together. So 9 times -4 gives us -36. And then we get our outside next. So we get 9 times 7i. So we get plus 63i. Plus 63i. And then we do first outside, inside. So we get -2i times -4. So we get plus 8i. And then we have one more term right here. We do our last. So we get -2i times positive 7i. We're going to get minus 14i squared. So minus 14i squared. Now, once we start combining like terms, you're going to see that we get -36 and then plus 63i plus 8i gives us plus 71i. And then when we have minus 14i squared, remember, I squared is just -1, so we get plus 14 times -1. I'm doing this one step at a time so everybody can see what our process is for getting rid of I squared. So we go through this, and this remains the same, but -14 times -1 gives us plus 14. Okay, so now we have -36 plus 71i plus 14. So we get -36 plus 14 is going to give us -22 plus 71i. Again, remember, you always write your real portion first, followed by your imaginary portion. So we have plus 71i. The key part here is, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but remembering that I squared is just equal to -1. And when you're going through your problems and you have I squared, you're always just going to put that in parentheses and replace it with -1. Then work out whatever multiplication you had. And always remember that you have this sign in front of this. So anytime you might need to multiply and change signs, you need to be aware of that. Okay, so -22 plus 71i. Let's go ahead and check our work right here. When we go ahead, you'll see the results of foiling, just like we had. You go ahead and see it combined like terms. We had -14 minus 1. We go ahead and simplify, and sure enough, -22 plus 71i. So if you want to go back and review any of these problems, all of the same work that we did is all written out right here. So just remember, you can go back through and look at each step right here. And you can pause it when this finishes and just look at each step written out here.